alcoholism, drugs, time kept from your family, all part of Todd's story. We'll hear that today live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope, open my eyes to see the world through different eyes, revealing your light, restoring hope.
Welcome and happy Martin Luther King birthday. We love you, Martin, for what you did for this country, and I'm so thankful that God put you on this earth when he did. It's the 19th day of January in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Restoring Hope Live. A commercial? No. A journey? Well, maybe. But a ministry to help those people suffering from life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Sponsored by the good folks up at Powell CDC Unity Point. And for those of you listening on the radio, you won't be able to see this, but I went to Unity Point today. Can you see my finger? And I still have my little armbands on here. And by the way, I got treated exceptionally. Dr. Hoffman was wonderful. But I jammed my finger, and I've never done that. And the end of my finger just kind of mopey, you know, just kind of like droopy, just droops off. And so they put this little thing on me. I think it looks like an Eskimo's canoe, but it looks like, see, I got to be careful how I show that finger. See, I got to just go like this. Anyway, so, and I can't write. It's just terrible. I tried to type today, and every time I'd hit the, what is it, the U, I, or O, it would drop down, and I'd get a J, K, or an L. The problems of getting old, right? All right. Welcome. Of course, we've got Ryan producing. Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, is here. And Dee Hummel, who is sitting in for Lila. As Lila is... Lila, well, here's what Lila has done. Lila has gone to a Swedish plastic... What do you call those? Plastic surgeon. And when she comes back, she's going to look 9.
She has not.
That's what she told me.
Are you kidding? She said that. I'm sorry.
I made that up.
Oh, I just believed it.
No, her and her family are on a much-deserved vacation. And my guest today is Todd Stevens, who is the ministry and worship leader at Cornerstone in Boone and has a wonderful story to share for us. And we have to thank Jill from King's Bookstore.
That's right.
King's Christian Bookstore in Boone, because I had a guest scheduled for today, and they canceled at the last minute on Friday. And she knew you. I guess you guys go to church together.
That's correct, yeah.
Boom. Sent me a picture of you on Sunday. You were playing your guitar and singing, I think, during church. So, tell me, where are you from originally? Where's home?
Mac, can I call you Mac?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, I'm from Southern California.
Wow.
Riverside, Southern California. I lived there for 25 years before moving out to Midwest Iowa.
Why did you move? I mean, I can give you 100 good reasons, but why would you move?
I moved to get away from the craziness of California, to get away from my. It was a run method to try to get away from partying, and drugs, and I knew too many people that were just living the wrong kind of life, and it was just too easy getting tangled up with them. I was already married, had my firstborn son at that time, and we just made a decision to leave. I have a couple older brothers that are out here in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
And so they were like, hey, why don't you come out here? It's
you had an anchor.
Yeah, it's a little, and it was rough at first. The transition was too intense, but stuck it out, and now we're Iowans.
There you go. How long have you been here now?
18 winters now.
18 years. Wow.
18 winners. Sorry.
18 winners. Well, if you're a California guy, that's how you count them, you know?
That's right.
And so back in California, let's go back to California. When did you start, when did you taste your first drink of alcohol?
I remember I was about 8 years old. I was out in front of my house. My older brothers partied. They're all delivered from it now, but 8 years old, I was handed a beer from either my older brother or one of the street neighborhood kids that, older kids were hanging out, and they gave me, I think it was a Schlitz, can of Schlitz beer. I drank the whole thing and was good and buzzed at 8 years old.
Did you get sick from it?
I did not that first time, no.
And then did you just continually drink when your other friends were drinking?
I think from the time I was 8 years old to 12, there was a few occasions where I partied or I was introduced to smoking weed before the time I turned 12 or 13, just a few times. But at the 13 years old, it was pretty much on and kicking.
You were
partying
full-fledged
every day. Yeah.
Did you finish high school?
I didn't get my diploma. I actually quit early and tested out. I tested out early because I was tired of high school. But so I did. I went and tested halfway through my senior year and got my GED and went right to college. Actually.
Oh.
I didn't finish. I actually just got my degree last year in May.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, I did. I tried that. I got out of school, went to college. Didn't stay there very long because actually I got into had a little bit of a music career and went on tour with some bands and things like that. So
yeah, what do you play?
I play the guitar, I play the drums, I play the bass, sing. I could play a little bit of whatever I put my hands on, a little bit of banjo, ukulele, mandolin.
So did you go through middle school and senior high basically in trouble or out of trouble?
I mostly stayed out of trouble. My father is a doctor, still is a doctor. He's 80 years old, still works in the emergency room in Riverside, California.
Oh, my.
Works at a private practice, has 3 jobs in the medical field. So my father raised us to be pretty classy, if you will. My mother and father both went to Howard University and got degrees from there. So I pretty much, I knew how to play the role. I knew how to be correct when I needed to be, and then I had a lot of street knowledge. I had a lot of friends that were in the streets of California, so I kind of played the role. I was able to stay out of trouble. It's pretty sneaky. But during my high school years, I dealt drugs. I made a decent amount of money selling drugs through high school.
How did you explain that income to your parents?
Well, it kind of was easy because my dad gave me too much money in the first place. I mean, as a little kid, he gave me like $30 a week when I was, like 13, 14 years old. I was making like $30 a week.
That's like $60, $75 today.
Right. And so I guess I don't know. I never really had to explain it to him. I bought a lot of stuff that I think that, my dad didn't ask where you got that from or something. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. Todd Stevens is our guest today. He is a worship leader and ministry leader at Cornerstone Church in Boone. Also works for Rock-In Prevention.
That's right, yeah.
With my good friend Pat McManus.
Yeah.
He's a talented guy.
The Pat McManus.
Is that what he? It's like the Ohio State. It's now the
Pat. No, I gave him that title.
Now, Dee, I got a question for you. We obviously have a young man here who was raised in a good household. Sounds like mom and dad were together the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
A quality education of mom and dad. I think Riverside, California, if I think about it, that's a nice area.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
We always think of people who suffer from drugs or alcohol problems as being from the wrong side of the tracks.
Oh, yes.
But that's not always the case, is it?
No. I was, I got sober in 1975, and back in 1975, they still weren't, women just weren't in treatment. I was the only female in treatment at the time. But I remember getting out of treatment and getting my hair cut. And the gentleman that was cutting my hair said, "How'd you come about working at PAL?" And I said, "That's because I was recovering." And he stopped in midair and looked at me and said, "What?" And he said, "You don't look like an alcoholic." And I said, "What are they supposed to look like?" And he said, "Well, I don't know, somebody with bugs coming out of their hair."
Yeah.
So I believe without a doubt now, because it's been so publicized in TV and it's obvious that it's a disease. So, And Pat McManus, I grew up in Boone.
Okay.
And Pat McManus is one of my very dear friends. I dearly love the man. He's He's very
let's
good.
not say too many nice things about Pat. His head will get all big, and you know what
I
happens.
just love him. He's great.
He's a neat guy.
He's a great guy. That's right.
Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat. Now, in your years of being deposed and giving expert testimony, did you do more alcohol or more drugs?
Alcohol.
You
By
were
far.
you were the alcohol expert.
Yes.
And when you hear about a young man like Todd who starts drinking at age 8, the damage can come pretty quickly, can't it?
Well, sure, because he's still developing. He's still growing
Yeah.
and forming in cells. And when you start killing off cells that are trying to grow, it's not a good thing. But just from meeting you, it doesn't seem like it had a long-term effect.
Yeah, it seems like your health is fine.
Well, I mean, I personally, I believe I'm a walking miracle. I believe I should be dead.
Yeah.
I've had, by the grace of God, I believe 9 lives. I've had lots of experiences. I mean, I fight diabetes.
Okay.
I fight it well now. But I mean, I was putting down a fifth of booze a day just 4 years ago, drinking a fifth a day. Waking up in the morning when I would test my sugar, waking in the morning, it's 385 in the morning after fasting all night long. So I definitely should have a lot more wrong with me than is. When I got a radical turnaround, I'm the country song backwards. I got my wife back, got my home back, got my kids back. Because it was all I lost it. Everything was gone just prior to July 2010.
Is that when you got sober?
July 21st, 2010 is when is the last time I've had a few sobrieties throughout my whole drinking partying career, if you will. This is the first time that I got sober for me. I've had sobrieties that were always for other reasons than me wanting to do it for myself.
Yeah, there's a term in the 12-step program that I love. It's if you're in trouble with your liver, the law, or your lover, you're probably an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I've always remembered that. But so you feel blessed to have escaped any permanent physical damage.
Right. I mean, I believe I probably could be healthier than what I am. But I mean, I can work. I can still lift things up. Last time I went to the doctor and blood tests, heart's working well, kidneys are working well, liver's working well.
Good.
I have had some problems with my eyes. I've had a few surgeries. I had a surgery on my eye and several procedures to keep my sight. So the diabetes did attack my eyes mostly, but all my other organs seem to be working just fine. So I personally believe it's a miracle. People could think what they think, but I think it's just that I took a turn and God graced me. So.
Yeah, he certainly did. And the wife that you have now is your original wife?
Yeah, 21 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old is your child? How many children do you have?
We have five children together.
Holy Toledo.
Exactly. We finally figured out what makes that happen.
Yeah, good. Okay,
put an
good.
end to that.
And so tell me your kids and their ages.
My oldest is 20 years old. His name is Todd, named after myself. I have a daughter who's 18 now, just turned 18. Her senior year in high school up in Jewel at South Hamilton. And I have a 14-year-old in 8th grade, my son Sammy. My 17-year-old's name is Rachel. Then we had an 8-year gap. Thought we were done. But then my 6-year-old daughter, her name is Davina. Oh. She's in kindergarten up there in Jewel.
So Mama got to start all over again.
And then we have a 4-year-old.
Oh, my heavens.
4-year-old named Vincent, who isn't in school yet. So.
Oh, my. All right. My guest today is Todd Stevens, and he is the worship leader at Cornerstone Church in Boone, sober since the 21st day of July in the Lord's year 2010. So you're just about to hit your 5-year mark.
Pretty close, 4.5 years right now, yeah.
Yeah. Are you, do you participate in a 12-step program now?
I don't anymore. I did before getting sober. I did a year treatment.
Wow.
Not by choice.
Yeah,
but
court ordered.
Yeah, but I'm about to get involved with Celebrate Recovery and maybe even run one. So.
All right, we'll talk about Todd's journey when we come back. By the way, Jill said on Facebook, tell him to take his coat off and relax. That's what you get when you can see what we're doing here at webcast1live.com. All right, we're coming back. Todd Stevens. So age 8 took his first drink. What happened after that? And what finally grabbed him and brought him into sobriety? It's coming up live on Restoring Hope.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places, especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
All right, I'm here. Can't type and bum finger here. I can't type and talk at the same time. We're glad to have you here. It's Restoring Hope Live on a Monday the 19th. If you're listening to this live, we sure appreciate you tuning in to The Truth 99.3 or on the web. If you're listening to this on a podcast, we appreciate it even more, simply because we know that the time commitment and the choices you have. I mean, I can't believe I guess I'm blessed, because I got to live out this era of my life at the end. Because I couldn't have done radio, the way radio's done today. It's just not the same business. And so, but the digital age, Dee, when Bob and I used to be on the radio before and there were no podcasts, you'd say something and it'd be gone. And the likelihood that anybody heard it, if you said something stupid or you could get you in trouble, the likelihood that anybody heard it is probably not. And you'd always go, well, I got away with that, Nobody called in on that one. Because by 2 or 3 hours after the show, if you'd said something stupid, which I did a lot, somebody would call and say, hey, you can't say that, da-da-da-da. Well, now with podcasts, I mean, they're around forever. we've got our first show, that we did here 5-6 years ago. And so, but I would have to tell you, it doesn't make me any more careful. So, but I don't say as many stupid things as I used to. So that's probably the Holy Spirit keeping me intact.
You're a veteran now.
You think? Maybe 40? How many years did we figure out the other day, Bob? Oh, no, it's 40 years last year. 40 years.
For you.
Yeah. For you, it's what, 6?
Yeah, at least.
Mm-hmm. So Bob Bonser at the Cat in the Hat watching the chat. Ryan is producing. D. Hummel from Powell CDC, who's our sponsor, is here. And I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job, and I couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth, 99.3. My guest is Todd Stevens. He is the ministry leader, worship leader, at Cornerstone Church in Boone, and he has not used or had a drink since the 21st day of July in the Lord's year 2010. Let's go back to college. You didn't finish college. Was that because of alcohol and drugs?
The first time I went to college, the reason why I stopped was because I was actually sober then. I got sober when I was 17. November 5th, 1988, I became sober.
Okay.
For about 3 years. I ended up going on tour with some Christian bands. A couple big names. I went on tour, DC Talk, the Newsboys.
Yeah.
And then a lot of other Christian bands that may not be as famous, but a lot of the hip-hop scene, the Christian scene on the West Coast. I went on tour with a lot of those bands, those rap groups, and ended up getting a record deal in 1993 with Word Records through a subsidiary label named Brainstorm, and got distribution through Epic Records. And so that was going on a good part of my life. That was it kept me stable for a while. And then right around 1993, I started slipping back into drinking. It was the whole I could have a beer thing.
Yeah.
I didn't actually learn that one until 2010. That no, I can't have a beer. But
I know.
Then started partying again. Ran into my wife, who at that time wasn't really into things of God, and we got married. And my problems continued with drinking. And then it was drinking because I didn't like being married. Stayed married though. We stayed married. Started doing drugs off and on. Didn't get sober again until 1996.
Are you still in Christian bands at this time?
Yeah. The band that I signed a deal with in 1993 is actually is reforming this year. We were on a hiatus for about 11 years.
Yeah.
So we're going to get back at it. And that group is called XL in Death Before Dishonor.
XL in Death?
XL. My nickname is XL. Extra large. I've always been kind of a big dude, so I got named XL for extra large.
Okay. Okay.
XL. And then the band name was called Death Before Dishonor. So
but you're not a big guy now.
Yeah, I've lost about 60 pounds in the last year and a half, 2 years.
Good for you.
And still going. So
Good for you. Yeah. Todd Stevens is my guest. He's a ministry leader from Cornerstone Church in Boone. So you had, what did you say, November something of 88 was your first sobriety date?
Yeah, November 5th of 1988 was the first time I got sober.
And it went till when?
It probably went till, around the same time, maybe a little bit sooner. In 3 years later, so it would have been 91.
Okay.
91 is when I started kind of slow. It was a slow fade of, a few occasions where I'd have a few beers here, then I'd go for another couple months and I'd have a few beers. And that started slowly getting until, in 1993, right around the top 93, I was full tilt partying again every day, drinking, drugging, something,
Now, D, somebody who can have 4 beers and not have another beer for a month, it's hard for me to understand. I mean, I know the answer, but it's hard for me to understand that they're an alcoholic.
Oh, that can only drink 4 and then quit, you mean, and not drink for a long time?
Yeah.
I don't know that they are alcoholic. I think what there are, to be honest with you, I think there are people who drink hard, but then when something happens, for example, WI or anything, they just quit, and then they're happy and they're fine. They don't need it. Alcoholics can't do that.
Right.
We absolutely will justify, rationalize, and make excuses for drinking no matter what. But have you ever gotten up from a table and been at a function where they have liquor, and people have half glasses.
Yeah.
Okay, those are the normies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never understood that. No self-respecting alcoholic ever leaves a drink on the table.
No,
or
and
anybody else's.
I just
Yeah.
want to finish them all.
Yeah.
Right, that's right. He'll take your drink. I was going to say, he's going to finish your drink.
Are you done with that? Really? Can I? Do you mind
That's
if
right.
I? Really? I know it's a chicken leg, but can I? Really?
You know, my husband's a normie, and he quit for 10 years to support me, which was great. I was very pleased. We were at the racket club. I'd love to have you think I play tennis. I don't. I picked him up. But we were at the racket club, and he said, "Do you care if I have a beer? I'm really thirsty and hot." And I said, "No, I hated beer. I mean, I really hated it."
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, and so he ordered this tall beer and drank my 7-Up and then took 2 sips out of his beer and said, "Are you ready to go?" And, you know, the fact that I hate beer has not got anything to do with it. I looked at him and said, "Are you not going to finish this?" He said, "No, it didn't taste that good." I wanted to hit him. I would never hit my husband, but I wanted to pick that up and do something with it, smash it, because no self-respecting alcoholic leaves a drink on the table. It's
That's right.
crazy.
That's right.
I know that sounds silly, but that's
No,
how
but
we
it's
feel.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
And there's a sign. You know, one of the reasons we do this program is not for the addicts or the alcoholics. We do it for you, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Maybe it's your pastor, and you've sensed some type of trouble. Maybe it's somebody in choir with you. Maybe it's a fellow pastor, and you know you're beginning to see this pattern that you can't really tie to alcohol or drugs, because part of you doesn't want to believe that, you know, your pastor might, you know, not have that under control, because for heaven's sakes, they're above human, right? I mean, pastors aren't just human, they're superhuman. They're right next to Jesus. The truth of the matter is we're all human, and we all sin, and we all fail. We all have hurts, habits, and hang-ups. We do this show so you can be better informed and recognize better some of the traits of alcoholism and drugs. And there was a real good one right there. If you're sitting with a group of 4 or 5 people and you've casually had wine or some cocktails, and there's somebody at that table that when you get up and there are half full glasses, they decide to drink them all, they may be an alcoholic. Here was one of my tricks. Get up from the table. We're all going towards the car. As soon as we're out of sight of the table, oh, shoot, I didn't leave her a big enough tip. She really did a good job. I'll be right back. Okay, honey, you go get the car. We're fine. Okay, thanks. And I go back and gulp, and leave a couple extra bucks, and I'm a happy camper. Mm-hmm. So just so you know, there's a sign that you can see. All right, so 11/5/88, you were sober, and you were sober 3 or 4 years, and then little by little you got back into it. First it was once a month, and then it was once a week, and then it was every day?
Yeah. It slowly got to where I was drinking every day again, doing drugs, and then really it turned into I was doing a lot of methamphetamine. I kind of, you know, my whole substance abuse went in stages. You know, when I was younger, teenager, I smoked a lot of pot mostly. I mean, alcohol was always involved, but I think the thing I went after the most was weed when I was a teenager. And then by the time the year when I was 17 years old, before I got sober that year, I was doing a lot of speed. And then the drinking would just be to try to come down off the speed, you know.
Yeah.
Drink a lot to try to go to sleep.
Yeah, take a depressant. You know.
But when I realized, though, right around that year, like 93, 94, that my drug of choice was alcohol. That's what I went to.
And you said earlier beer, but then you also said a fifth.
Well, you know, it progressed into, you know, where beer wasn't enough, you know.
Okay.
So, you know, my tolerance level started to grow, and I didn't want to drink any beer. So I drink beers after I drank down a half pint or something, you know, and I could feel that I had a buzz, and I could drink. Then I could drink socially or whatever, you know, have a few beers with some people. But then I'd always have to have some hard liquor to really get drunk.
Now, during this time, what's your wife saying to you? Anything?
Well, you know, the first few years of our marriage, my wife would party with me. I think after the first 2 years, she got sober. She comes from a family of, you know, her dad was a heroin addict, mom was on meth for a while. She did meth from the time she was like 14. That was her drug of choice from 14 till when we she was 19, maybe 20 when we got married. I can't remember, 20 I think. But then so by the time she was 22, she quit everything. She was done with it. She was sick and tired of it. And then I was the one struggling with it. So there was a big issue in our marriage, because I'm the guy sneaking around trying to sneak beers or I'd ask her, honey, can I go get a beer, and then I'd go pick up a beer. And of course, I'd buy 2 or 3 and slam down 2 or 3 before I got home so I could just act like I'm having one beer, And finally,
doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah, I didn't drink beer, but
I mean, just
I was an alcoholic.
the stories we've heard all around the rooms, of 12-step programs.
big time.
And now that was when we were still in California, and then I had an awakening, if you will, or really, each time I got sober before this last time was either, to try to please my wife or to please God, which I don't think either of those are bad things. But I think when it comes to getting sober, this is the one thing I think that a person has to be selfish about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I didn't really understand that until 2010 that I got to get sober all for me, and not because not because I'm going to pay the bills, I'm going to be a better man for you or for God. And, that I know that don't sound right, especially to my fellow Christians in the room, but if you've never been alcoholic, you just don't understand. You got to get to where you value your own life to be able to get free of this thing, where you can't love someone else till you love yourself correctly. So.
Well, his world's about to fall apart. It's in the late 90s, and he's coming up on July 21st. He doesn't know it yet, but that day will begin his longest stretch of sobriety ever. Our guest is Todd Stevens. We invite you to come back. Hey, guess who's on the show tomorrow? Dr. Alveda King, the niece of Martin Luther King Jr., will be here tomorrow to talk about her uncle and the difference he made in all of our lives. Bob Montserrat, Dee Hummel, Ryan, I'm Mac, and for Todd, we thank you for listening to The Truth. This is 99.3.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News at the top, and then Mike Mudloff from Westkirk Presbyterian Church with True Blue. Dee Hummel is here from Powell CDC. They help us put together this program every single day. Lila, or we call Mama Coco, decided to have in-depth psychological treatment, electrical shock. We heard last from the doctor they were considering a frontal lobotomy, and so hopefully after this, she's... What are you laughing at? No.
I hope she's listening.
No, she's not listening. No, her and her family are on vacation, a much-deserved one. All right, my guest today is Todd Stevens. He is the worship leader at Cornerstone Church in Boone, Iowa, and first got sober in November 5th of 1988, and you would have been how old?
I was 17 that year.
All right. And then you maintained that sobriety until about 93 or 94. And then you kind of lost it again?
Yeah, well, actually, the first time I started drinking was probably 1991, but then it was just, I wasn't off and running.
Because you could handle it then, right? Yeah. I can handle it. Right. I can have 1, I can have 10, I can still be okay.
Right.
I have a chat question that just came in.
Okay.
Do you think that the marijuana that you were doing early on was a gateway drug for you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course.
So it did lead to the alcohol.
Yeah, I would have done anything offered to me back as a young teen at 16, 17. I just didn't have access. I did some cocaine back there, did some speed. I think I did some shrooms. I dropped acid a couple of times. It just, weed was what was accessible. And back then you could go on the corner where we lived. I could just go up to the corner liquor store, convenience store, and someone would buy some beer for you. And then it wasn't hard to get anything really, but. Weed and beer, that was enough as a teenager.
Well, but the question was posed because I don't know if you answered that the way you want to. You would have drank. You drank first, and then you started using drugs, and you continued to drink.
Right.
I mean, pot wasn't the first thing you used, which opened the door to other things.
I guess not then. So maybe the beer was a gateway drug.
Yeah.
Can I say something to that? Okay, I worked with teenagers for 8 years, and they was to a person said, if there ever is a belief that pot is not addictive, then they need to call us because we'll get 500 kids in to talk about that. It is highly addictive, and it does some pretty much. It does a lot of damage to the system. It takes away male testosterone, and it does all kinds of horrible things. I just don't think people are aware of it. I think the popular opinion is that it's not harmful, and it is extremely harmful, and it's extremely addictive. I deal with young people who are addicted to it every day.
All right, let me ask you a tough question. Obviously, we have a craze in this country where marijuana is being legalized. I'm assuming you're against that idea.
Absolutely.
If you could go back and change America in the 20s when we tried to ban alcohol, would you have encouraged them to ban it? Should alcohol be banned like marijuana is?
That is a tough question. Because I'm alcoholic, my first response would have been, gee, that would have been great, because maybe I wouldn't have then had been exposed to it. However, they bring it in no matter what. Take a look at all of the alcohol that was sold illegally back in the day, all the runners. I think that alcohol is extremely harmful to the body. Please don't get me wrong, but marijuana is pretty awful. Okay. And it goes into it loves alcohol likes the water in the body. Marijuana goes to all the fat cells, which include the brain, other areas that people don't want to discuss, but it affects them badly. And I can, I go into detail in group and in treatment. But, and don't get me wrong, I believe in the oil that helps children. And I don't think we can grow it here, but I think we should be able to get it for them. My fear is that if they grow it here, then they're going to be selling excess. Who knows? I'm very against it. Sorry, this is just
no. That's why I asked. That's why I asked, because I don't think it's too long until marijuana is 50 states available.
Unfortunately, I know that. I think that's pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. They showed their parents on TV the other night being prosecuted because they fed their children marijuana that they thought was good for them medicinally. And they tested positive for marijuana. Both little ones did.
That's Dee Hummel from Powell CDC. Remember, just a programming note, tomorrow Tamara Scott will be here, and our guest will be Dr. Alveda King. She is the niece of the great Martin Luther King, whose birthday we celebrate today. And it used to make me mad. I don't get mad anymore. I get sad when people don't recognize the groundbreaking work that Dr. King did. Everybody wants to see it as a race thing, but it wasn't. Yes, it was one race that seemed to be affected the most. But Dr. King taught us how to love and yet stand up for ourselves. He refused to ever allow any of his marches or protests to be violent. And he maintained that level of peace and decency throughout his entire life. And I got to tell you, for a guy like me who likes to protest some things every once in a while, sometimes it's hard to stay calm. And it's hard to stay in the love rather than go to the hate. Because the hate's so easy. It's so easy to call on the accuser and say, let's go fight this fight. Let's go hurt somebody, either emotionally with words or physically with our fists. What Dr. King did for this country, none of us will ever completely understand. How God sent him here as an angel to fix a messed up society that we called America. So God bless you, Dr. King, and happy birthday. Todd Stevens is our guest today. He's been sober since the 21st day of July, 2010. We have just a couple more minutes before we take our last break. Tell me what happened. What was the final straw that you said somewhere around the middle of July, I'm done?
Well, my wife and I had a lot of problems in the 2000s, turn of the century. A lot of fighting. I went to jail. She went to jail. A domestic situation. None of us ever got pegged with domestic, but we'd get to fighting. And, most of it was all based on my alcoholism, which I was very much in denial of at the time. And it wasn't until finally in 2009 I got an OWI. And I was driving through a cornfield. It was 11 o'clock at night. Thought I was on the road. I was driving down the middle of a cornfield, perpendicular into a road, and big enough ditch, went off the edge, nose dive into this ditch. And I guess thankfully I was drunk enough to not be dead, because usually when you're drunk, But got out of that ditch and found out kind of where I was. Called my wife to come get me, and as I'm sitting there like a drunken idiot, and people are passing by, hey, need some help? No, I'm okay. Your car is stuck in the ditch perpendicular. If I was sober enough, I would have got out of there. But anyway, my wife shows up right about a minute after the sheriff shows up. So I go to jail, and at OW, I lost my job. I was actually a bus driver in the city of Ames, driving the school bus. Yeah. And I had been I went through a sobriety for about a year prior to that. It was one of those stretches I had. Yeah. And once again, doing it for other people. And me and my wife started having some problems, so I got mad, went out and got drunk, and then it kind of stuck. So after I had the OWI, I didn't really just quit drinking. I was trying again. I'd go a month, or I'd go a few weeks, and I'd drink. And just our fighting got so bad that she went to go see some of her family in Vegas for about a month. And when she got back, we just got into a knockout, drag-out fight. I was drunk. I threw a chair at her because I was tired of it, She called the police. I went to jail. Got a mandatory restraining order, which was really, at that time, the best thing that could happen to us. I mean, I hate to say that, but I mean, especially then I was so mad, but best thing that could happen to us. And we separated for 7 months, which is something I needed, because during that 7 months I found out I was a problem. I was the alcoholic, and it wasn't her making me drink or anything,
So then what is life like? You decide you're finally going to give it to your higher power and you're going to make it do for you rather than for somebody else. The rest of Todd Stevens' story when we come back on Restoring Hope Live, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC, here on webcast1live.com and on The Truth 99.3.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
10 minutes before the top of the hour on this, the 19th day of January in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Restoring Hope Live, a ministry and service of Powell CDC, when we bring people on and simply share their stories of life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And we look for what I call now nuggets of wisdom. Because I'm convinced someplace in the middle of Todd's story, there's something you needed to hear, or maybe you've yet to hear it. And it's God's way of nudging us forward by picking up other people's experiences, strength, and hope. And that's why we have communion. That's why we have programs in which we are dependent on each other, because God did not intend for us to solve these hurts, habits, and hang-ups by ourselves. He intended us to help our brothers and help our sisters and move them along. So hopefully you found your nugget of wisdom today. Maybe it's yet to come, but either way, thank you very much for listening. Todd Stevens is my guest. So you and your wife separate. This was what, in 09, early 10?
It was February of 2010.
Okay.
We were separate until September, so 7 months. The first 5 weeks of it mandatory by the courts.
Okay.
Couldn't talk. We obeyed the restraining order, no contact. And that was the first time in 20 years that we've ever had that happen.
Yeah.
And for me, I was mad. I was upset. I was angry because I was angry that my wife didn't accept me for my drinking, because I was the alcoholic, that I paid the bills. I didn't beat up on my kids, and I didn't get into a fight with anyone unless you crossed me, So I didn't get in even fights with her unless she started, running her mouth, or at least in my opinion, you're running your mouth.
Right.
Now we're into a fight, let me leave and go drink some more. So I didn't understand what the deal was. But then, I didn't understand that a lot of the things that are involved with alcoholism, I was doing those things.
Yeah.
I was destroying my family, at the expense of this drink. You know, I lost a few jobs over my drinks. You know, everything in the Jellinek stages. You know, when I found out about the Jellinek stages, I was like, wow, I've been through those a couple different times. You know, I've been all through your textbook alcoholic, and when I was able to look in at myself and get away from my family, and I was alone, I was by myself. That's when I found out, dude, you've got bad problems, and it's you. It's not her.
It's not your wife. It's not your kids.
It's you. And in that time of my drinking, I wasn't even going out to try to go to the clubs or go to the bars or anything. I was just sitting at home, drinking, not showering. I reached the end. You know, I was being diabetic. You know, my heart was hurting, my arm was going numb. I couldn't do a push-up. Winded up going up one set of stairs. I was dying, and I knew. I was like, "You're dying, man, and for what? So you can have another drink?" You know, and at that time, I cried out to God. I said, "God, I need help because I don't know what to do."
What was your relationship with God like prior to you calling out with him? He just a God of convenience?
Well, no, I mean, I knew that I didn't really have one with him. The only thing I ever prayed at that point was help.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that I needed help. I trusted in his mercy and his grace because I knew that if it had anything to do with me being a servant, I wasn't one. And I wasn't fooled by that. You know, I had the tendency to preach over the years, you know, when I'm walking good with the Lord, and I wasn't trying to share the gospel or share the Bible with anybody. I was just 100% backslidden, wallowing in my own misery, you know. And I missed my wife. What I realized is that I wanted my wife, I wanted my family. I didn't want the booze, and I just then had to figure out how do I get, because by that time I was body dependent upon it, you know.
Yeah.
Sweats, shakes, and stuff. You know, whenever I would try to not drink, try to eat, you know, couldn't eat very much. So when I try to eat, I have to have a fan on, blowing on me. I get huge sweats and stuff. And it was just on that day, the 21st, you know, I got supernatural help. I got help to not take that next drink. Don't take it, you know. Went and sat down with my family, tried to eat dinner with them. They're sitting there with my kids watching me. I got a fan on me because I'm just sweating profusely trying to eat a hamburger or something, you know. And I just told my wife for the 100th time that day, I'm done drinking. And, of course, she says, okay, honey, you know.
Yeah.
And but I was done drinking. And I don't really know what to say to anyone except for that I wanted my life back. I'd lost my life. I lost everything, and I wanted it back. And I knew what the cost was for me to get it back was I had to not take another drink ever again.
Now, what did you said that you didn't take another drink after the 21st of July, but you and your wife weren't together until September again.
Right.
Did she see that you were sober, and did that make a difference?
That was something that helped her to trust us getting back together, was that I was sober for about 2 months on my own for the first time, not doing it for her, I was living in a little one-bedroom apartment, you know. I was still paying her bills. I was paying the best I could, you know. Bless God for that. I don't know how, but alcoholics always afford their drug. But I was able to do that. But yeah, that's one of the things she saw was I got sober on my own. You know, I had taken my ring from her, you know, and that month when I got sober, I came back, gave her a ring back, said, you know, you're my wife. I'm going to work things out to make you see that I'm going to be the husband you need me to be, you know. And then of course I stayed on my own and that was hell, being by myself and not drinking, not going to drink. You know, not going to drink. And it didn't seem like God was helping me, but I know he was. I mean, I know he was, but it didn't seem like it.
God's always there in hindsight, isn't he?
Yeah.
If he could only be there in the future in our mind, we need to trust his presence and his will and his plan for us. It's just amazing how we're so likely to take our will back and make it do it our way when God has such a plan, and if we just let him do it, just look at what happens. You know, it's amazing.
Right.
Well, Todd, I appreciate you taking the time to be in here today. By the way, you never mentioned your lovely wife's name.
Her name is Cheryl. Cheryl Lynn Stevens, yeah.
All right.
That's right.
Cheryl, if you're listening, you're a wonderful woman. Thank you for being so patient with this brother, and thanks for being such a great mom. She's got to be something really special.
She is.
Yeah.
She's a piece of work.
Dee, not a story that we've heard before, right?
Oh, dear word. That's exactly mine. That's what I did. I got on my knees and said, God, I don't know what to do. Please help. I'm alcoholic. And that's when I got my powerlessness, my spiritual awakening, even though I thought I was religious. And it made all the difference. He's telling my story.
I told a young lady at the Saturday morning meeting I attend, she made the comment, she just doesn't believe in God, She just doesn't know if he's there for sure. And I went up to her afterwards and I said, you know what? It's okay that you don't believe in God, but understand he believes in you. And she just looked at me. And she said, I'm going to write that down. So she wrote it down. And I hope she put it on a mirror or something and reads it every morning, because it really is okay if you don't choose to believe in God. He believes in you. And there's going to be a point in which you will choose to be powerless. And as you said, there is so much power in being powerless. Mm-hmm. All right, Bob, thanks for being here. Dee, thanks for being here. Ryan, thanks for producing. Todd, thanks for being my guest. Yes. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Here's what I want you to do. It's a Monday night, and I want you to think about that person that you don't like anymore, a person you carry a resentment against, someone who makes you angry when you think about them, someone who's living in your brain rent-free and causing you problems. And tonight, on your knees, standing up, outside, howling at the moon, just forgive them. And then God will forgive you. See you tomorrow.